cold silence of space, empires whispered one truth: water worlds mean death. For centuries, alien civilizations agreed on this. Oceans were poison, salt burned skin, pressure crushed bones, storms ripped apart ships. On water planets, machines rusted, armies drowned, and colonies disappeared without trace. No empire dared to settle there. To the galaxy, water worlds were cursed, but then the humans came. From the deck of a long, orbital platform, the Yelthari commander watched the strange new arrivals. His large black eyes blinked as he studied the colony ship that had landed on the ocean world below. The blue planet rolled beneath him, endless waves flashing under a pale sun. The commander hissed to his aides. "They are fools. The ocean will swallow them in days." His aides agreed. Every alien knew it. Even a single drop of liquid water was feared. Entire fleets had been lost when exploring such planets, and now these fragile mammals thought they could build a home there. The Yelthari laughed. It would be a quiet war. The planet itself would kill the humans. No invasion needed. No weapons required. The oceans would be the executioners. At first it looked like he was right. The human ship landed clumsily on the waves, creaking and swaying. From orbit, the aliens saw metal towers sink, machines vanish beneath the foam, supplies scattered by storms. Surely they thought the humans would cry out for rescue, but then something strange happened. The humans didn't flee. They didn't die. They began to swim. On the surface, human children leapt into the waves with laughter. Adults followed, diving into the rolling seas without fear. They floated, kicked, and splashed like it was natural. Alien spies sent recordings back to their homeworlds in disbelief. "Impossible," whispered the Yelthari commander. "No creature can live in liquid death." And yet, the humans did more than live. They thrived. They built floating cities out of their wreckage, tied together with ropes and steel beams. They created boats that sliced through the water, faster than any alien craft dared. Divers went below the surface, bringing up glowing plants, strange fish, and treasures from the deep. The silent war the aliens expected had not even begun. The humans were not victims. They were explorers. In the first month, storms slammed into the human colony. Lightning split the sky. Waves higher than towers crashed against their platforms. The aliens waited for the ocean to wipe them out. But the humans adapted. They lashed their homes to great anchors, built barriers, and when storms grew too strong, they simply dove beneath the surface and waited. When they rose again, they laughed as if the storm had been nothing but a game. The galaxy had no answer for this. One alien scholar tried to explain. Perhaps humans come from a world like this. Perhaps they were shaped by water, but no one believed him. It was madness. No intelligent species could come from a death world of oceans, and yet the evidence grew. The humans weren't afraid of drowning. They weren't crushed by the weight of the sea. They moved in water with ease, holding their breath for long minutes, swimming like predators born in the deep. Their technology only made them stronger. Tanks that moved underwater, suits that let them breathe beneath the waves, ships that dived and returned like giant predators. The silent war had changed. It was no longer the ocean against the humans. It was the humans joining the ocean. The Yelthari commander sent urgent messages back to his empire. These creatures, they are not dying. They are claiming the waters. They are learning to live where no one should. The reply came with cold arrogance. Then let them drown later. We will wait. The ocean always wins. But in his heart, the commander felt fear, because he had watched something no one else in the galaxy had seen. He had watched humans dive into the abyss without hesitation. He had watched them disappear into black waters where no alien dared go. And he had watched them return, carrying strange glowing creatures in their hands, smiling as if they had just walked through a garden. The ocean world was supposed to be a grave. But for the humans, it was home. The silent war was over before it even began. The galaxy just didn't know it yet. The alien council chamber was silent. Across a great table, dozens of species stared at the holographic recordings. The blue ocean world filled the room, waves glittering like liquid stars. The humans had not drowned. They had not fled. Instead, they built floating rafts, steel platforms, and strange ships that skimmed the surface. The council members whispered to one another in disbelief. "This cannot be," one hissed. "No living species survives in the abyss," another spat. But the recordings did not lie. Humans were not only surviving, they were preparing to go deeper. On the ocean world, the sun rose over the endless horizon. Ethan Cole, captain of the human colony, stood on the deck of their largest platform. Around him, engineers tightened bolts, divers checked their gear, and children leaned over the edge to stare at the dark waters below. It was a day for history. The first deep dive. For weeks they had tested the shallow waters, swimming and exploring coral reefs just beneath the surface. But today, a team of humans would descend into the black depths that no alien had ever dared to enter. Ethan raised his hand. "Today we go where the galaxy says no one can go. They fear the water, but we are not them. The sea made us once, and it will not break us now." The divers smiled, pulling on their masks and slipping into reinforced suits. The crowd cheered as they leapt into the water, vanishing beneath the surface. High above, in orbit, the Yelthari commander watched through drones. His black eyes narrowed as the humans disappeared into the abyss. He turned to his aide. "They will not return. The pressure will crush them. The darkness will consume them. You will see." But deep inside, he was not so certain anymore. The water grew colder as the humans sank. Shafts of sunlight stretched thin, fading into darkness. Strange creatures with glowing eyes drifted past. Some were as small as a coin, others larger than houses, their bodies pulsing with living light. The divers pressed deeper, air tanks hissing softly. Pressure wrapped around them like a giant hand, but they kept moving, calm and steady. For them, this was not alien, it was familiar. One diver whispered over comms, "It feels like Earth again." Another laughed. "Like coming home. The sea was not death. It was life." From orbit, the aliens expected screams. They expected crushed bodies and broken machines. Instead, they saw humans swimming side by side with monsters of the deep. One recording showed a diver reaching out a gloved hand to touch a massive glowing beast. The creature circled, studying the human with eyes like lanterns. Then, to everyone's shock, it swam beside the diver peacefully, guiding them through the dark currents. The council chamber erupted in outrage. "Impossible. Those beasts kill anything that enters their domain. They should be dead." But the humans returned, alive and triumphant. When the divers broke the surface, the colony cheered. They dragged strange shells and glowing plants onto the platforms. They spoke of mountains beneath the sea, trenches deeper than anything on land, and forests of coral that seemed to breathe. One diver held up a recording. "Life is everywhere down there," he said. "Not death, not emptiness, life." Ethan smiled at the crowd. "You see, this world is not our enemy. It is our ally." The people cheered again. Children danced on the platforms, shouting about the creatures they would one day ride. And somewhere above the stars, countless alien eyes watched in silence, filled not with laughter, but fear. The Yelthari commander's aide trembled. They do not drown. They do not fear," the commander muttered back. For the first time in centuries, he wondered if the galaxy's greatest law was about to break. Water worlds were supposed to kill. They were supposed to bury every empire that tried to claim them, but these humans were not dying. They were beginning to rule, and the deeper they swam, the more the galaxy began to realize something terrifying. What others called death, humans called home. The second dive had been deeper than the first. The third dive went farther still. By the fourth week, the human divers no longer stayed near the surface. They carried stronger tanks, reinforced suits, and lights that pierced the black waters. They swam into places that no alien eye had ever dared to watch. The Yelthari commander sat in his orbital chair, black eyes fixed on the live feed from his spy drone. "Fools," he whispered. "The deeper they go, the closer they swim to death, because the abyss was not empty. The abyss was alive." At 600 meters down, the sunlight had vanished. Darkness swallowed the divers, their lamps small circles of light in a crushing sea. Around them, the silence grew heavy, until something moved. The water shuddered. The humans froze. From the dark came a shape, A giant fin brushed past their lamps longer than a ship. A massive body followed, armored in scales like steel. A single eye, glowing white, rolled toward them, big enough to swallow a man whole. The divers whispered through their comms. "My God, it's huge. Stay calm. Don't run." The monster circled, slow and silent. Every alien in the council chamber leaned closer to the recording. This was the moment they had been waiting for. "Yes," one alien hissed. "Now the sea will claim them." The monster opened its jaws. Rows of teeth flashed in the lamplight. It lunged, and the humans didn't scream. They didn't panic, they fought. One diver fired a flare directly into the beast's eye. Another struck it with a pulse spear, a crackling charge of electricity. The creature roared, thrashing in pain. But the humans moved like predators themselves, surrounding it, driving it back. For minutes, man and monster battled in the black water. The sea boiled with light and sound. Finally, the creature withdrew, blood spilling from its wounds, its great tail vanishing into the deep. The humans floated in silence, breathing hard but alive. Above them, the aliens watching were stunned. They survived. They fought the Deep One and lived. The Elthari commander clenched his claws against the armrest. "This is not possible," he growled. "No one survives the abyss." And yet, the humans did more than survive. They celebrated. On the surface, the divers returned, carrying pieces of scale as large as shields. They held them high before the colony. "Proof!" they shouted. "There are giants below, but they can be fought. They can be beaten." The children cheered. The adults clapped and sang. They were not afraid. They were excited. Ethan Cole looked at the battered divers and the glowing scales they carried. His voice was steady as he addressed the colony. "We are not guests here. We are not prey. We are part of this world now." The crowd shouted his words back to him. Their voices carried across the waves, loud enough to echo into the sky. But the aliens were not cheering. They were terrified. The council chamber erupted into chaos. If they can fight the abyss, if they can tame it, then water worlds will no longer be grave planets. They will belong to humans. The Elthari commander spoke with a voice like thunder. "Then we must stop them before they go deeper, before they awaken what sleeps in the trenches." For he knew the truth. That giant was not the only monster in the depths. It was only the beginning. And in the blackest trench of the ocean, far below where even the bravest human had yet to dive, something stirred. It had felt the battle. It had heard the roar of the wounded beast. Eyes larger than moons opened in the dark. A body the size of a city shifted in the trench. The humans thought they had found monsters, but the monsters were only just waking up. The galaxy had watched long enough. At first, the council thought humans would drown. Then they thought the monsters of the abyss would finish them. But when the humans returned again and again, alive, stronger and unafraid, the fear of the galaxy turned to anger. "They are claiming a death world," one alien leader spat. "If they tame the oceans, what will stop them from spreading to others?" "They must be removed," another growled. And so the decision was made. The invasion began. Ships of 3 different empires dropped out of warp above the blue water planet. The Elthari commander stood on his bridge, his claws tapping against the console. "It ends now," he said. "No more human arrogance. No more swimming in death." His fleet descended, weapons glowing. Below, the human colony spotted the invasion at dawn. Great shadows blotted out the rising sun as alien ships entered the atmosphere. The floating platforms shook with the roar of engines. Children screamed. Adults grabbed rifles. Ethan Cole lifted his radio, his voice calm and sharp. "Everyone to stations. The ocean is our shield. The ocean is our weapon." And with those words, the real war began. Alien soldiers dropped onto the platforms, armored and armed. They fired plasma rounds that burned through steel. Towers crumbled, walkways shattered, flames licked the skies. But when they advanced to finish the humans, the platforms were empty. The aliens blinked. Where are they? Then the water around them erupted. Dozens of humans burst from below the waves, armed with harpoons, rifles sealed in waterproof cases, and shock spears crackling with power. They struck fast, dragging soldiers into the depths where the ocean swallowed them whole. The invaders had come for an easy battle. Instead, they were fighting ghosts in the water. The Yelthari commander snarled as reports filled his ears. "Our troops are vanishing. They strike from below, then disappear. We can't see them." He slammed his claws on the console. "Deploy the machines. Drown their nests." Massive war machines dropped from the ships. Tanks designed for land, walkers with heavy guns. But when they hit the waves, they sank like stones. Salt water corroded their joints, waves overturned them, and pressure crushed their frames. The humans laughed as they swam circles around the wrecks, planting explosives and tearing them apart. The ocean was not an enemy. It was an ally. As the battle raged, the abyss itself joined the war. The same creatures the aliens feared now rose from the depths, drawn by the chaos. Towering fins split the waves. Tentacles thicker than towers coiled around alien dropships, dragging them beneath the water. But to the humans, these monsters were not just threats. They were weapons. Divers guided the beasts with sound signals, leading them straight into alien fleets. Giant leviathans crushed ships, glowing predators scattered soldiers. It was as if the humans commanded the entire ocean. From orbit, alien commanders watched in horror as their mighty fleets were swallowed by waves and shadows. "This is not war," one whispered. "This is slaughter." On the largest floating platform, Ethan Cole stood in his dripping suit, watching the horizon where alien ships burned. His voice crackled over the comms. "They thought the ocean would kill us. They thought we could not fight here. But this is our world now. And in our world, they are the ones who drown." His people cheered across the waves. By nightfall, the invasion was broken. Half the alien fleet was gone. The rest fled into orbit, limping and burning. The Yelthari commander stared at the planet below, his claws shaking. He had seen the impossible. Humans had turned the ocean into a battlefield no alien could survive. "They are not prey," he whispered. "They are predators of the deep." For the first time, the galaxy understood the truth. Water worlds were not grave planets. They were human planets. But far beneath the waves, in the black trenches untouched by light, the true masters of the ocean stirred. The small battles had woken them. Their eyes opened, glowing like suns. The aliens had failed. The humans had won, but the deepest war was still waiting. The war in orbit had ended in fire. Alien fleets limped away, broken and humiliated. But the galaxy's whispers did not stop. How could humans survive where we could not? They bend oceans to their will. Are they even mortal? And then came the most fearful words of all. They are not alone in the deep. Beneath the dark waves, deeper than any alien dared to look, ancient titans moved. They had slept for ages in the black trenches, undisturbed by empires and wars above. But now, the noise of battle, the screams of dying machines and the signals of human divers had reached them, and they were awake. Ethan Cole stood on the command deck of the largest floating platform. His wetsuit still dripped with seawater. His soldiers were battered but smiling, their spirits unbroken. "Aliens thought we would drown," Ethan said over the radio. His voice carried across every survivor's comms. "But the ocean is ours. It gave us breath. It gave us food. And now it gives us allies." At first, people didn't understand. Allies in the deep. Then the water rose. The surface split as a colossal fin emerged taller than a tower. Tentacles surfaced next, massive enough to crush warships in their grip. Glowing eyes peered from the depths like twin suns, watching the humans not as prey, but as kin. The ocean had chosen its lords, and they were human. Panic spread in the fleeing alien fleets. From orbit, commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. What? What are those things? "Leviathans, hundreds of them!" "They're following human signals. They are fighting with them." The abyssal creatures surged upward, tearing through the alien remnants. Warships exploded under pressure, their hulls bent like paper. The sea boiled with fury as monsters older than history rose to defend their new partners. To the galaxy, it was impossible. To humans, it was inevitable. Weeks later, the council gathered in fear. Holograms of burning ships and shattered fleets glowed in the chamber. "The humans are no longer settlers," one alien said. "They are warlords of water," another added. No empire can challenge them now. For the first time in galactic history, silence filled the chamber. Not because no one had words, but because everyone had the same thought. Humans were no longer just a species. They were a force of nature. On the ocean planet, life had returned to a fragile peace. Floating cities rose stronger than before, built with steel, coral, and living walls. Human children swam freely with creatures aliens once called nightmares. Divers trained side by side with leviathans, guiding them with sound, light, and trust. Ethan Cole watched from a platform's edge, staring at the horizon. A giant fin broke the water far away, and he smiled. "The galaxy feared the ocean," he said quietly. "They called it death, but for us it is life, and it will never be theirs." But whispers still echoed in the void. If humans could tame the oceans, what would they do with the stars?